Okay, good morning. Welcome to CSE1PE. We've all just quickly introduced ourselves as a collective somewhat. We've been introduced to Gandalf, who shall turn up later this course. You shall not pass. If you don't study, you shall not pass, I mean. Let's move right along. We're going to be talking about the pizza party later, and we're going to be talking a little bit about the AI prompt. Okay, so let's get to it. How do I do my own prompt engineering? Let's get to it. So I shall show you. Okay, so let's start with week 3. Actually, why don't I put this out there as a competition? I'm going to ask you to create your own prompt. Okay? This is completely optional. I'm going to get you, you know how I got you to create a prompt for this week's class? I'm going to get you to create a prompt for next week's class. I'm going to show you how to do that. If you submit something to me by close of business Thursday, I will then compete it with everybody else's prompt. I will find the best prompt and I'll release it to the whole class on Friday. Okay? So that's the competition. But let me just show you how to create your own prompt first. Okay, so first things first. Where do we get the materials from? Okay, so there's 2 places. So I'm going to go to my AI gym and I'm just going to pick this one. Okay, so I've got my prompt here. Okay, so now I'm going to go and get the material for next week. Okay, so I'm going to go to module 3 and I'm going to go week 3 workbook. And I'm going to go export book to Microsoft Word. So that has now saved this into my downloads folder. I'm opening this up in theory. Did I click on it? What are you doing? Hang on. Oh, I need to. Oh, it's opened it up, but it hasn't actually fired it off. Okay, never mind. Okay, so week 3 workbook. Right. Let me just pull this over to the other screen so you can see it. Okay, so, right. So let me put that there and I'll put that there. Okay. Okay, so I've got my prompt and I've got my workbook. Now I go to ChatGPT or any other AI that you like, and I say, I'm going to give you a prompt and which was developed for some material. I'm then going to give you some new material, and I want you to design the same kind of prompt for the new material. The pitch. Okay, give me the original prompt. Okay, right, so here is the prompt. Right, I jump over to there. Control A, Control C. Chuck that in there. Okay, so it then says, yeah, I understand what's going on. Here is the new material. There. Control A, Control C. Control V to copy it in if it's going to work. It will. Control C, Control V. It's not working because there's some kind of importing problem in the browser. So oftentimes you have to go through Notepad to get to places. So I'll copy Word into Notepad first of all. It's relatively chunky and hard to read, but that's okay. Okay, so now we have the new prompt. Okay, precision Python Boolean and control flow tutor. So what you'll do is copy that in, run it, and off you go again. Okay, but because I've opened a little competition to do this, you can go, tell me 5 ways to improve this prompt. Okay, here's 5 substantial improvements. Okay, and it's going to be different for everybody because it's predictive. So things like that. So some of them you might go, add code tracing challenges. What is that about? So you might have another ChatGPT window open going, explain what this means, right? Because the thing that the difficulty that beginners have with ChatGPT is it kind of knows everything about programming, whereas you're right at the start. So it will explain things in terms of much more advanced concepts than where you're up to. So actually constraining it is difficult sometimes because you can just go down endless rabbit warrens, as it were. Anyway, so you might have a look at they go, yeah, they kind of look all right. Okay, so then you go add all these in. So it revises it. So then you might play with it for a bit and go, yeah, this kind of makes sense. But then you start crafting these things, right? You get a bit of a sense of, should it do something, what your personal taste is. And incidentally, while you're doing that, ChatGPT is learning from you, okay? Because all these AIs are personalized. So if you start to give it particular feedback, it will then start actually learning what you like as well. Okay, so by interacting with the prompts, you're actually teaching it yourself. Okay, anyway, I just wanted to show you that bit of it. Okay, so now we know how to do that. So, and you can apply this to any subject, right? It doesn't have to be programming. Take the prompt and stick in another subject and see what it does, right? We've unlocked the ability for you to apply this wherever you like. So I think that's a useful kind of a thing. Okay, so that's enough of the AI gym. I'll give you a couple more little prompts later. I noticed last week some people were looking for some additional challenges, so I've given you different levels of weights: lightweight, middleweight, and heavyweight that you can play with throughout the semester. Okay, there's plenty of stuff to play with. Don't worry about that. Okay. Okay, so I think I'm done with the AI gym for now. Okay, so next, just talking about AI in general. So you're all look, the university policy around AI is what it is, right? I love it. I think it's such a powerful tool. It's going to take us a really long way. Play with it all the time, vibe code with it all the time. I just think it's a fantastic tool. But if you're copying code in from it, then you're not learning the code. Okay. And I really want to be quite explicit about that. And you'll see why in a minute. I'm going, as I said, I'm going to be showing you a video which explains to you how to get smarter. One of the things that it says in the video is that you need to listen and you need to write and you need to draw. Okay. It's essentially, it's like taking class notes. Back in the day, people used to write on paper. I remember at university back in the day, I wrote 9 pages of A4 in 1 hour lecture once. To write and to draw pictures actually activates different areas of the brain that encode the information. Okay, so to become smarter, it's not just about listening. Watching a video doesn't make you smarter. You actually have to do something with it, which is why in a lot of my classes, I actually want you to type things, get it into the hands, not just into the head. It's got to be in the hands because it's activating different parts of the head. And the temptation with AI is to just outsource everything to that. It can do the stuff, so why not just let it do it? So you can use it to avoid understanding. You can use it to replace practice, okay? I will say that the exam is AI free. You can't use it in there. So you must have the skills yourself. And like I said, you don't have to learn a whole lot this semester. It's not like learning a language. You've got 43 basic tokens, but it's more about your thinking, right? Being able to actually know what's going on. Okay, if you're outsourcing that to the AI, you're not getting anything this semester. Okay, so that's kind of where we are with AI. I just want to come back to this, what I call my beginning slide again, because we're all starting out, where we all need a lot of guidance. This isn't supposed to be frightening. Okay, so programming is very disorienting. Like I've said in the past, if you're feeling really confused in the first couple of weeks, it's because you've kind of just entered this really weird, different world. It's very disorienting. So I thought I'd show a little snippet of a lecture by Patrick Winston from MIT, which does tell you how to get smarter, but also actually explicitly talks about disorientation. So I'm just gonna throw that up there. Let me know if you can't hear the sound. Can you see this screen? Maybe I need to reshare it. It's not loading very fast. Hang on.
If you've got heartburn, try this Gaviscon chewing gum.
Good old YouTube. I could eat some chicken right now.
Queried Krishna here before the class starts, and he tells me I haven't told you about the following experiment. This, in my way of thinking, is the most important series of experiments ever done in cognitive psychology, developmental psychology, actually. So here's how we get started. There's a rectangular room if you're a person. If you're a rat, it's a rectangular box. All the walls are painted white. You with me so far? So now, in each corner, there's a basket or a cloth or something under which you can put some food. Now, you put the food there while the rat watches you. And then you give the rat a little spin to disorient it. All right? So then the rat stops and goes for the food. And you can keep track of where the rat goes. And the rat goes with approximately equal probability predominantly to those two corners. So I bet you didn't know that rats were that smart. So they understand the rectangular nature of the room, and they don't go to the diagonal corners where the food cannot be. So are these genius rats? Or maybe we're just rats with big brains, because we do the same thing. So if you repeat this experiment and replace the rat with a small child, and then you put a toy in there instead of food, and the rat, not the rat, the child is usually held in a parent's arms, usually the child's mother, usually because they think that if they participate in these experiments up there at Harvard, the kid will get into Harvard someday. So the kid goes to the diagonal corners, just like a rat. And then you next thing you do is you try an adult, maybe an MIT student. In that way, in case you can use food again. And you get the same result. Who could be surprised? So rats, children, and human adults, pretty much all the same with respect to this experiment, until you paint one wall blue. Rats are not colorblind, in case you're wondering. Then what happens? Well, if you paint one wall blue, the rat still goes with equal probability to the two diagonal corners. If you paint one wall blue, the child still goes to the two diagonal corners with approximately equal probability. It's only us genius human adults who go only to that corner. So this invites a couple of questions. One of which is, when does a child become an adult? Any ideas? Leka, what do you think? Yeah, you can pick a number greater than 1 and less than 10. Manasa, what do you think? 5? Pretty good guess. Do you have siblings at that age? It's a surprise, but why is it 5? Is it because, what does it relate to? Is there any correlate to the onset of that ability? You might try everything as Spelke does because she's extremely careful. So she's tried gender, she's tried the onset of language, I don't know, the appreciation of music, handedness, and there's only one thing that matters, and that is that the child becomes an adult at that time when they start to use the words left and right when they describe the world. Now, I said that very carefully because they understand left and right at an earlier age, but they only have started to use the words left and right when they describe the world at the time that they begin to break this. They begin to break this symmetry and go to the correct corner. Now, for the next element of this, I need something to read. Has anyone got a textbook handy? Ah, here we go. China, illustrated history. Now I need a volunteer. Okay, Andrew, you want to do this? So here's what you're going to do. You can stay there, but you can need to stand up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you a passage from this book, and I want you to say it back to me at the same time I read it. It's as if you were doing translation, simultaneous translation, except it's English to English. Gosh, this thing's got words I can't pronounce. Okay, you ready to go? All right. When overwhelmed by the magnitude of the problems he tackled, he began to suspect that others were plotting against him or secretly ridiculing him. So it's not, thank you very much, Andrew, that's great. So you see, he could do it. Some people can't do it, at least it takes a little practice. But he did it, and guess what I've done to him? I reduced his intelligence to that of a rat. Because if you do this experiment with an adult human who's doing this simultaneous English to English translation, they go with equal probability to the two corners. So what's happened? What's happened is you've jammed their language processor. And when their language processor is jammed, they can't put the blue wall together with a rectangular shape. So it seems to be that language is the mediator of exactly the combinators you need in order to build descriptions, because they can't even put those things together when their language processor is jammed by the simultaneous translation phenomenon. So that brings us to the two gold star ideas of the day. And one is, if you want to make yourself smarter, you want to do those things. Look, listen, draw, and talk. Because those are the particular mechanisms that surround this area down in here, which is the center of what we do, which is the center of our thinking. So why do you take notes in class? Not because you'll ever look at them before, but because it forces the engagement of your linguistic, your motor, and your visual apparatus. And that makes you smarter, because it's exercising that stuff. Second thing you can say in conclusion, especially from this experiment, is beware of fast talkers. Why do you want to be aware of fast talkers? It's not because they will talk you into anything. It's because when they talk fast, they're jamming your language processor and you can't think. That's why you want to be aware of fast talkers. Because if they jam your language processor, you won't think, and you'll buy that car, or you'll buy that drink, or you do any manner of things that people who want you to do those things have learned to do by talking fast to jam your processor. So that completes what we're going to do today, and we'll give you a demonstration of some of this stuff on another occasion.
I have a 130.
Okay, so that's partly why I object to having slides that have lots of text and that you're supposed to listen to someone talk to as well, because it jams your language processor, right? The people who like to listen are being, interrupted by the fact that they're reading, and the people who like to read are being interrupted by the words, and it's just jamming you all around. So that's partly why, from a design perspective, I try to have, very distinct activities in terms of what I do, and that's partly why slides with very little on them are often more powerful. I've got a question from Julie S. Is it worth practicing via Grok Academy? Absolutely. It's worth practicing in all the different places. You can. And in fact, I'm going to point you to a set of courses by Anthropic today, but I'm not committed to any courses. You've got your four big players, right? You've got OpenAI, you've got with Sam Altman, you've got Grok with Elon, you've got Anthropic, and you've got Gemini, right? So they're the four big players. They've all got educational stuff. Absolutely jump in and do that. I thought I'd just point you to one of those things today, because honestly, there's an overwhelming amount of additional stuff that you could do. But I just thought we'd take it easy. Okay, I realise I've gone a little bit over time. What do I think of Code Academy? That's great. There's so much stuff out there that's useful. I'm going to pause the video now and go and get a cup of coffee, and I will come back with my dash hound. So I will see you in 5 minutes. If you've got any questions, by all means, type them in there. As soon as I get back, I will start addressing them and answering them. Chat to you soon. Cheers. See you soon.